Back in February of this year, we welcomed in a brand new series to the iRacing.com Motorsport Simulator and Pit Stop TV. And over the last 6 months and change, the league and the drivers within it have grown and prepared for this very race, the cutoff race for the 2026 AARN Chase. 12 drivers will make it, the rest better luck next time. Next season is your best opportunity to get back into the chase. That's all the way in 2027. Look, drivers are already rolling down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. Let's go ahead and get to the grid quickly. I'll catch you up on everything else as the morning goes by. On pole is Zach King. Well, maybe we won't get a grid. That should be pulling the grid stats. I don't know why that's not. Well, it's Zach King, Coulter Clark at the front, followed by Chris Winstone and Corey Powell. At least that's what iRacing is telling me. I'll tell you what, you'll see it on the ticker as soon as these guys start. I don't know why it's not how it should be. I'll just leave that up. That's the grid. I don't know why ATVO is misbehaving this morning, but let's just go ahead and get into it. This is Daytona. This is race 26. We'll flash up point standings here shortly. Here we go, into the restart zone. As regular viewers of the channel will know, we try to be a lot more prepared than that. I don't know why ATVO did not want to give us the starting grid, but that's okay. We're rolling lap 1 underway. McCoy Benke on the top side in the number 35. He's a newcomer to the series. There's a few of them in today's race. Off of turn number 4 at the World Center of Racing, it will be McCoy Benke to the start-finish line first. He leads lap number 1, brand new to the series and already leading here at Daytona. He's got Chris Winstone pushing. Winstone absolutely needs to win this race to make the chase this season. He's not the only driver in that boat. First lap in. First lap and a half, we'll say, as a couple of drivers blink towards the back. Here's a driver, though, that looks decently steady, Thaddeus Friel. Another driver in a must-win scenario coming into this race, and there you see up ahead the sunset behind the grandstands. As it will be a move to the top side here for Thaddeus at the very back of the field. While drivers get their laps worked in here, I want to get to those point standings before too much longer. Sean Hughes comes into today the points leader. He's battling for the top seed with Chris Romano and Zach King. Zach King sat on pole for this race. Farther back, the only drivers really in the conversation to move around at the cut line: Elijah Mopin, Gregory Van Nice, and Corey Powell. Van Nice not here. As I just heard the revs wind down here for Thaddeus. You see drivers moving around in front of him. He's taking it nice and easy. Elijah Mopin, one of the drivers in that group that's moving around a whole bunch. Dakota Sidros, Chris Romano as well. We have a different 24 in the race. I'm not exactly sure why, but here is that 24 of Justin Hewitt. He is in the midfield in that Chevrolet. And up front, Zachary King takes over with help from Casey Gross. I'll get back to the standings graphic. This is a look back at the front of the field. These guys sorting things out here early. Chris Romano, meanwhile, battling for the top seat in the standings, follows all the way back to the back of the field. Excuse me, of the field. Points again coming at you, and what you need to take away from this is the top driver with a win that is not already in the top 10 makes the chase. So, Chad Fox, Mark Bender, Mike Ravillo, Chris Winstone, Thaddeus Friel, Robert Hissong, Christopher Foote, of any of those, if they get a win tonight or today, They are in the chase over Mike Alley. Robert Hissong nearly won at Michigan last week. Maybe should have won. Got bullied up the racetrack by the guy we're on board with, Chris Romano. And hey, that's what happens for a win. But it maybe could have been that win that got Robert Hissong in the chase. Instead, he's got to try and do it again here at Daytona. He is in the field from what I can tell. In fact, he's leading the race. So how about that? Taking destiny into his own hands as Romano is back here on his own behind the entire field. He has lost the draft. We don't have stages in the All-American Racing Network. That's probably good news for some, bad news for Romano. This race could go green all the way, in which case he is in some very deep trouble. A look at the Whiplash Sim Cams race details. 100 laps, 250 miles, a 402.3 kilometer race, 4 change sets, 65% fuel. That should get these guys around 30 laps. I don't know that I would put money on that being 30 laps, but it should give them around 30 laps. And the weather conditions in this race, there you see, as we watch from high above, there's a move from Zach King to get down in front of Hissong. Ambient temp 76.3, track temp 79 degrees as King moves back up in front of, I think that's Essenberg he just put a block on. And Essenberg now goes a little bit backwards. 12 mile per hour winds out of the east. That will, of course, vary over the course of the race. Power rankings coming into today's race. And, of course, this is going to change a whole bunch, being that we are at Daytona. But coming into this morning's event, there you see Coulter Clark on top, nearly at a 90. Chris Romano, 78.8. Of course, he got the win last week. That helped boost his score. Same for Jordan White, who finished well. Zach King moves up into the 4th spot. He's up there with Sean Hughes on the up and up, and then Chris Winstone on the decline right now. Casey Gross had a decent race at Michigan last week. Elijah Mopin, well, he was involved in a crash with me. So that was my second race of the season that I wanted to run, and likely the final of the season, but Elijah Mopin involved in the same crash that took me out of the race. Yeah, unfortunately, he did not have the greatest of days at Michigan a week ago. And finally, the end of our preliminary graphics, I'd say, for the morning. Here we go. Fantasy points coming into this race. Of course, we will set a chase. Zach Mertis, though, did not make picks. He did not make a pick last night, did not make a pick this morning. And I think if Corey Powell, and Corey Powell did, Corey Powell made picks, I think Zach Mertis is going to miss it. Corey Powell should almost certainly make it in. It was a 16-point gap between Mertis and Powell, who is 11th in these standings coming into today. Mertis not picking, that is a big goose egg. Now, Zach Mertis was supposed to be here as well. We'll see if he catches up with us as Robert Hissong continues to move around at the front of the field. He gets back ahead of Zach King and some others. Benke's still up here. You've got Bender, Conan, Gross, Essenberg, Alley, Dunaway, Scalus, your top 10. Admittedly, I haven't done a whole lot of super speedway style broadcasting the last handful of weeks, the last couple of months really. Mark Bender on the outside of Zach King trying to make something work up there. And I only got to see a little bit of the NASCAR race last night. So I'm honestly kind of sitting back and just waiting to see how this race truly goes. I have no real expectations. These guys should be able to go about 25 to 30 laps on a tank. Call it 3 to 4 stops for the race, depending on how cautions fall. And Scalus trying to go around the outside maybe. He will hold himself back, and that whole top line gets bunched up. behind the 1 and 16. The 1 of Dunaway went nowhere. There were checkups further up as now the 69 and the 1 make contact. That is Shane Morris on the inside in the 69 car. Nearly having a crash there in the midfield to get it sorted out. Cameron Combs right behind here. He's on the inside lane. He doesn't want to get taken out in this kind of thing early. But Robert Hissong out front leads the way. First side-by-side is going to be Thaddeus Friel and Chris Winstone. These two have been lockstep formation the entire season, it feels like, each joining the series a little bit late, around May, and trying to make it into the chase in their own ways. Either one of them, if they pick up a win today here at Daytona, it would put them in the chase for the championship if either one can go to victory lane. Otherwise, it'll be the guy who's now on the inside of the 98 car, the 22 of Mike Alley, who would make it into the chase as the wild card for the top driver with a win, not yet in the chase field. There is another wild card that would currently go to Corey Powell for having the most starts, but not already being in the field. Check up there from Zach King as Thaddeus Friel gets put up on the outside, and King makes it 3 between Coulter Clark and Friel, the 98 going backwards. And he's going to get turned! Thaddeus Friel is out of the chase hunt, crashing on the front stretch. More involved. Fox in the 14 is involved. Fox, another driver that needs points to get into this. Or rather, needs a win, potentially. Let's see what happened. I know there was some network issue on the far side of the incident. But here is Thaddeus Friel just in the middle trying to get down. The 10 didn't have room for him and ends up collecting Dunaway, collecting Scalise, and more. Wow. So first caution of the morning. You see the 98. King put him 3 wide, and Essenberg in the 10 closed the gap right there as Friel was trying to get down. You see the 69, the 1, the 16, the 14, 33, the 64 even. Sidrus gets a big piece of it. Mopin gets a piece of it. Problems for several fantasy teams, that's for sure, with Mopin getting a big shot. Here's Elijah Mopin's point of view. He's behind it all as it starts. Gets down to the pit lane, tries to miss it, ends up hitting his teammate, Dakota Sidrus. I think it's a little piece there as well of Chad Fox as they get rolling away from the accident. As for Thaddeus Friel, I suppose there is a chance that he can still stay in this race. Here's his onboard. I would think this is his shot at the chase up in smoke. But I have seen crazier things happen, and frankly, that would be a heck of a story if he's able to still do it. Here we go. Drivers into the pit lane, led by Robert Hissong. Everybody coming in. Everybody knows how valuable this fuel is. That's the biggest thing they need to come in and get is fuel. Down and away, it'll be the 35 out first. McCoy Benke, Joe Conan follows. Robert Hissong gets out in third, followed by Michael Alley, Coulter Clark, Casey Gross, Sean Hughes, Zach King, Chris Winstone, Corey Powell will exit behind Jason Thomas and CJ Allen. So McCoy Benke leads us under this caution, and a big thank you to the partners who help us get here week in, week out with the All-American Racing Network, of course, Bully Dog Coffee Company, Happy Pet HQ, Ideal Pest, Ideal Canine, Ideal Racing, And today, Boosted Safe. This is the Boosted Safe 250 after all. Glad to be here. As everybody gets sorted back out in a field on the backstretch. You can see the bit of fog there in the sky. There is just a slight little bit, it looks like. Certainly a good bit of humidity in the air. That humidity pegged at 95%. The schedule for this season, it's not exactly the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. We had a few differences. For example, a second Michigan race this season. That was last week. Today, though, Daytona. Next week, Darlington. Then, actually, 2 weeks from today, Darlington. Then St. Louis, Bristol, Kansas. On down the order. It'll be a mostly NASCAR schedule from here, even including the switch from the Charlotte Roval to the Charlotte Oval for the fall. Much to my disappointment. One car leaving the pit lane. That seems to be Cameron Combs. It is. So he is getting, or has gotten repairs. Yeah, the right front very beat up on that 15 car. Corey Powell, by the way, taking it back to the pit lane, it seems. He's having some issues with connection today. Doug Scalise working around the racetrack. He's got damage. Chris Romano has got no damage. He just tops up on fuel. Shane Morris in the number 69. There he is. Car looks okay. I know he was involved in the accident. Daniel Dunaway in the number 1. Car looks alright. These guys do have a fast repair. And it seems that Dunaway has used his. Romano did not. Scalise did not. Mopin did not. There's Elijah Mopin. You can see he's still got that damage. Chris Winstone going to line up towards the back end of the field. Now, he and teammate Coulter Clark came back in, it looks like, for some extra fuel, and that's a trick you see a lot at these racetracks. To come back in the last lap of the caution, top up on fuel, make sure you got as much as you can put in the car, and this might be enough to stretch the gap to possibly eliminate a pit stop. We'll think more about it as the race goes on. Plenty of time to get there, as it is a couple of non-chase contenders at the front. Somebody that's brand new to the series, in fact, leading us back to the green. That'll be McCoy Benke in the number 12. With Joe Conan alongside. Robert, his song needs a win. Mike Alley wants nobody to win. He would still get the lucky dog. Here we go. Immediately, everybody to the bottom. You see one car pops up top. That is Sean Hughes in the number 75. He doesn't have much help. Zach King is a little farther back. Jason Thomas there as well. They now catch up to the 75 car, but very, very few cars on the top. There's a group in the back. Already this field is splintered, and this run has just begun, but Hughes working the top side. King tries to go middle, thinks better of it. There's the onboard for Zach King. For the most part, the chase field mostly decided, but there's still a few spots that can move around, especially that possible win, and you're in for the wild card position But also, not having Greg Van Nice here today, that might put Corey Powell in, depending on how well he finishes. In which case, we suddenly then have to look at who has the most starts. Here we go, to the race lead. Zach King pushes Sean Hughes up there, then moves around the outside. King now up to the first position. Can he hold on to it? No, Hughes gets back on by on the inside. There's nobody to help the 51. Jason Thomas sitting too far back as the field is getting doubled up again. By the way, looking into the starts for Greg Van Nice, he has 22. The next closest is Chad Fox at 21. Chad will not pass Greg Van Nice, so Gregory Van Nice is effectively locked into the chase. Because even if he drops out of the top 10 and Corey Powell moves in, frankly, they're both locked in. Powell and Van Nice both. Because whichever one does not make it in on points, makes it in on starts and points. Which I know is not the news that any of the other drivers trying to make it in wanted to hear, but yeah, effectively, the only position we are watching this morning actually is the 12th position. Who gets the win? Does it change? Otherwise, the chase field is actually quite decided. Whoa, big block! Zach King up top. Here comes Hassan around the outside. King tries to get back low. No dice. Where does Thomas go? Thomas will choose the top side with his song. Robert Hissong still needs that win. Thought he'd get it last week at Michigan. And the 51 to the sucker hole. Everybody going to try and pass him up. Never mind. The 24 lets him in. That is Hewitt playing nice as his song gets down to the bottom of the racetrack. Now in control here on lap 23. Sean Hughes with a run, opts to push the 29 car, at least for now. Real in-depth view of the back end of one of these cars. That's just how much these guys are shoving. The camera's overlapping with the car bodies. Oh, that's scary. Hughes about spun the 29 around. Crisis averted for now. Although Sean Hughes is going backwards, Jason Thomas going to swallow him up, maybe. Thomas does go high, and King follows. Chad Fox works on by on the inside as Hughes gets on down in the 11th position. Here's Chad Fox, and again, he really also needs to win. Thinking about this, looking at all of this, he also needs a win to make it into the chase. It could be Fox, it could be Bender, it could be Rovilla, Winstone, Friel, his song. Heck, it could be Christopher Foote. A lot of opportunities for guys to make it into the chase here today. All they have to do is win this race. And I say all. That is a pretty tall task. You bring a group of sim racers to Daytona, and it might even be harder to win, honestly, than the real thing. In the real world, you can fall back on your team to do a lot of the work with setting up the car, giving you a good motor, all of that good stuff. Here, everybody's got the same equipment, and you see what it's leading to. These crazy moves from Zach King and Jason Thomas, all powered by the fact that all these cars are even. There's no performance advantage one car to the next. It is all down to the driver. As Jason Thomas leads, Zach King is looking for a way to get back by. He's got a push now from behind. I believe that's Rovillo pushing the 51. And they run out of steam. The 24 is there as well. That is Hewitt. And Rovillo maybe a little too hard on the back bumper of the 51 car. He was all over the place. Thomas might get caught in the middle here. His song checks up for him, but is on that left rear. Yes, they figure it out. King, though, gets a big run. Can he get the race lead away into turn 1? Zach King trying to get the race lead away. Nose ahead now. So progress for Zach as he has been working to clear this bottom side for a while. Rovillo just not there on the bumper of the 51 car. Of course, these guys do have to manage their their oil and water temps. Yeah, definitely not their fuel temp. But they do have to manage their temps over the course of the race. They cannot overheat and allow the engine to expire. That obviously would be bad. Nearly a third distance. King down to the bottom side. Thomas in behind. So finally, the 51 does get clear. Here comes his song. A run back on the outside of Thomas. There's the block out of King. As these guys work around on lap 29 coming up. Here's a move from his song. This is for the race lead, and at the line, that would have worked. As these guys continue racing like this, we're going to go Pit Stop TV sounds of the sim here a little bit early. Get a chance to just listen in to the sights and sounds of Daytona International Speedway. credit where credit is due. Thaddeus Friel still in the top 10. You saw him there in that brief Sounds of the Sim segment. We try to use that on occasion. I like using it here at Daytona specifically. It gives you respect for just how fast these guys are going and the controlled chaos they are experiencing. Props though to Thaddeus Friel staying in this race to this point, as here we go, battle for the race lead. Continues on, it's Hughes and his song, of course, very, very early on this race. Don't need to worry too much about who's out in front at this very moment, but what these drivers do want to start setting up for is pit stops. Not very far away as Thomas gets a huge shove there to King. You see them dancing and darting around in the air, trying to find the right spot they want to be in. Very, very soon, these drivers will start to head to the bottom of the racetrack, I'd say in the next 5-ish laps, to get ready to come into the pit lane, and I would think get fuel only. I don't think you want to take tires under this stop, regardless of whether or not you took tires under the initial caution of this race. I think this is a pretty cut and dry fuel only. Get in and out as quickly as possible and just try to stay afloat. I don't think you want to slow yourself down with any kind of tire change. Coulter Clark on the back bumper of Casey Gross. Coulter moving around just a little bit. Down to the bottom side, there goes Gross. Coulter Clark now going to take over up top. He's got help from behind. That would be Zachary King pushing the 54 car at the moment. And you see in the background that smaller group of cars, very bottom of the racetrack, led by Chris Romano. Combs, Dunaway, Mopin, Scalise, and Morris also in that group as Corey Powell has shut it down for the evening, for the morning rather, 6 laps down. Bit of a tandem push at the front. Clark and King get out to a huge lead compared to what you typically see in these cars. They are hooked up and moving on the top side. King now on the right rear of Clark. Now he goes low. There's the move out of car 51. Knew that wouldn't last for too long. And you can see, especially when we zoom in like this, you can see just how much these cars move around in the draft, especially from this view as well. But this is the back end of this group just about. Man, there's the side draft. Hewitt down on Allen's door. All his pit stops are about to pick up. The pace car anxiously waiting to see if there might be a caution before we get there. And then one of the top drivers in the series without a win yet, as far as performance, has been Chris Winstone. Thaddeus Friel there as well. Certainly Elijah Mopin, but he is not in concern for the chase. He's pretty well locked in at this point. I'd say easily the 2 most competitive drivers without a win, or at least that need one for this chase picture, are Winstone and Friel. Winstone clean so far, knock on wood. Friel has that damage from that crash, but you know what? He's still in the race. He's right back here in 17. He's right behind Chris Winstone. Both of them doing their best to just get through these laps. 60 to go this time by. And we'll see who gets to the checkered flag first. King, big move up in front of Thomas. Goes up to block that 88 and the 33. Comes back down, playing a bit of Pied Piper is Zach King. Nothing changing here at the front, although King and, whoa, down under the line. Not sure about that. For car 51. King and Gross starting to get away a little bit. Bender, his song, they're back here. You see the, oh, big crash! Bender and Thomas in the wall hard. Caution is out. Big, I mean, massive impact for these two. Hopefully nobody hits them on the way by. Massive, massive impact for the 88 car especially. Bender gets away. There is Thomas. You see the right front collapse on that number 88 car. He pulls it down onto the apron. And yeah, that right front not responding to the steering input. You can see the steering input on the spectator side is nil, since the right front is destroyed, and certainly that will be Jason Thomas out of today's race here at lap 43. Bender able to continue on. He is on the racetrack still. A lot of damage on his car, but not nearly as bad as what's been done to the number 88. And so now the question is, what happened here between these two? Here's Bender in the 33, gets a run on the outside. Pulls around Jason Thomas, and I think Thomas may have come up into Bender. I was not so sure at first. If we watch from an independent party, in this case, this guy, McCoy Benke. Yeah, I think Thomas came up the racetrack. Great miss by Essenberg and Allen to get on by this incident. That easily could have been the end of their day. Here is Essenberg in the number 10. And this may even apply for the Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss. I think it applies. Yeah, that could have been a whole lot worse for a whole lot of cars. And from the 88's perspective, you'll see Bender come up on the outside here. The song gets to him. Here comes Bender on the outside. Yeah, I think Thomas comes up into Bender, and man, what a hit. Hey, to see that for each of those drivers, as Thomas will get a fast repair and get back out there. Glad he saved it to this point. There's one driver I have in mind, though, to go ahead and talk to under this caution, and that is Thaddeus Friel. I'll see if he's in Discord first, I suppose. And I actually don't think I see him in any of the Discord channels. So no, Thaddeus Friel not in Discord. There he is. He just connected. Thaddeus is listening. How about that? Let's go ahead and bring him in. I appreciate you, Thaddeus. As, we'll grab him down and pull him into the broadcast booth. And Thaddeus, I guess you're listening then. How's the car feel?
I didn't realize we had fast repair, took the fast repair, and still feeling like I can move up.
And of course, the big concern is how the car is going to handle on a long run, and you got kind of a taste of that. Any kind of weird tire wear over the course of that run with the damage?
Yeah, I don't know how much of the tire wear was from me spinning or how much of it was the actual race, but there's actually like about 15% on the right front, so that's definitely something that you got to watch out for here now.
And of course, 55 laps once we go back green, and that's not that crazy, but it is a longer potential segment to the end. Are you team I need cautions or team let's go green?
Oh, I'm team let's go green. I want to race it out. I want to see how it ends. You know, under our own power.
Of course, you need this win to make the chase. I mean, how crazy do you think you'll get if it comes to it? Obviously not going to crash anybody, but how crazy do you think you'll get throwing moves to try and win this race?
Well, I'm pretty decent at super speedways, so I don't think I'll have to get crazy, but I'll definitely have to make some moves that you know, might upset people, might make people happy if they're behind me, but we'll see what we can do.
Thaddeus, is good to talk to you. Glad you're able to pop in. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Appreciate talking to you, Thaddeus Friel, with an opportunity here to make the chase if he can just win this race. I missed the beginning of his comment. That was on me for not unmuting the commentator channel in Discord that I had muted for Sounds of the Sim. But Thaddeus, we appreciate you. Thank you, sir. And of course, he mentioned he took his fast repair. I didn't quite log it when I asked him about the damage right after, but he did mention that he took the fast repair, so his car okay. I should clarify. No damage on that number 98. As we get ready to go back green, it is Zach King leading us down into the restart zone. Sean Hughes on his inside. Robert Hissong, Joseph Essenberg, McCoy Benke, CJ Allen, green flag in the air. We're racing again at Daytona International Speedway. Down the backstretch, you see everybody getting lined up. The bottom line pretty well organized. The top side, a few cars up there, 7 or so. Oh, what a crash again! Coulter Clark, Casey Gross, Mark Bender for the second time. Big crash in turns 3 and 4, and Mark Bender's season effectively comes to a close. He had taken the fast repair on the previous caution to try and get back in this race. And the 33 is all wadded up. The Bully Dog Coffee Company Ford Mustang in trouble. Here's a look. Everybody just getting big runs. Far side of the caution, and oh boy. I mean, that was just never going to end well. I'm not really even sure where this checkup necessarily begins. I think it's just guys catching up. I mean, if anything, maybe from the 75 drag and brake. But, I mean, this is 10 cars back, and I can't blame Sean for dragging brake. That's just a tactic in this kind of racing. Let's go to the 75 here. And you'll watch the gap from the 75 to the 29. So the car to his, well, ahead of him, to the left here in the frame. You see he's going to drag brake right here. He's in the draft. He should be catching. He increases the gap. That is what causes the checkup. And then back here, the 54, I mean, he had his teammate Chris Winstone all over him. And so they go around. Clark with a bunch of damage to that 54 car. He's going to need a fast repair for sure. So you saw what caused the checkup that time. Here is the effect of it. You see Clark pull up on side just real quick, and no time for Winstone to avoid. Yeah, again, that really starts technically up with the 75, but frankly, that kind of checkup is also not exactly in Sean's control when guys are getting mega runs from car lengths back. If anything, that comes down to the drivers too, to say, hey, you know, there's a checkup, rather than piling into turn 3. Chad Fox, Casey Gross, they get into it. See the 24 get a piece of it as well. That's tricky. That's really tricky. And honestly, that might be the best use of racing incident in deciphering incidents. And well, there's Hewitt just getting a piece of Casey Gross. A little bit of nose damage, nothing too crazy there. So this certainly changes things up, and, you know, just like we were concerned for Friel's damage in the 98, concerned for Winstone's damage in the 37, as he has got a dent there in the nose of that Toyota Camry. And I suppose we may as well go ahead and check in with him, see how the damage is doing. Again, these are two of the biggest threats to get this win and you're in kind of bonus spot in the chase. And Chris, we see the incident that just happened there. How bad is the damage, front and back?
I don't know. It seems like it should be all right. I haven't gotten a call out that I actually have damage, so and it didn't look like I actually had any in the box. It just let me go, so I should be okay. Coulter, unfortunately, is in a worse spot, but he should have time to fix it, which is good. Need him out here because he's really helping. He's kind of guiding the strategy for us right now. He's doing a really good job. So
yeah, I see he's doing everything he can to not use that fast repair, and of course you want to save that for later in the race if you can. But already this race starting to get a little bit chaotic. How does this affect, of course, I know you're leaning on Coulter, maybe we should be asking him this question, but how does this affect the approach to the next 52 laps?
I think we're good. I think strategy-wise, it's kind of let us top off, so I think we're sitting in a good place on fuel, and we should be able to do a little bit more saving here this far back in the pack. So I think we're in a good spot. We'll, you know, hold off on moving up towards the front and just trying to avoid all the chaos. Guys are getting a little bit wobbly in some places, so we're just trying to find the right spot to pick our way through.
Chris, good to talk to you. Good to see you. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
We get Chris Winstone back up to his teammates. In this case, Coulter Clark, no Jordan White. And Chris is going to restart about the 12th position, so honestly, it could be a whole lot worse for car 37 at this point in time, as we've got about 18 of them all grouped together. There's Shane Morris, who is actually riding in with Winstone and Clark today. No affiliation going into today, but we'll see if there is one going forward as Shane Morris gets that car caught back up to the field. Doug Scalise will as well. He's still nursing that damage from earlier. Casey Gross also nursing the damage that he's got. Coulter Clark trying to avoid using that fast repair. It's always a dangerous game to play. And then there's Dakota Sidrus trying to do the same, although Dakota's already used one. And Mark Bender, I think, is just about officially done at this point as far as contention goes for the chase. When we go back green, we'll have 51 laps to go in the final regular season race of 2026. The iRacing.com safety car to the relative safety of pit lane. It's Sean Hughes, Mike Rovillo, Thaddeus Friel, Daniel Dunaway, Mike Alley, and Jason Thomas. They all stay out. Everybody else, a full tank of Sunoco race fuel. Green flag. Twenty-three cars still in the race, 22 in the lead pack. Sidrus couldn't quite catch up. Dunaway gives a shot there to Thomas. Topside trying to get going. Oh, gotta watch that mismatch of bumpers as here comes King on Rovillo. And King up on the top side falls back to Jason Thomas. He's been in that arrangement quite a lot so far here today. Chris Romano, by the way, he is back into this lead pack. There he is, now in the 13th position. Make that 12th. Oh, contact, watch out, live wreck avoidance. A great miss for Winstone and for Romano. The Chris's make it through beautifully. And Coulter Clark all the way back there checks up hard. There were other cars involved, obviously, but man, oh man, some great driving from a couple of these Chris's. Romano and Winstone both. Scalus is checked up. There's Conan in the 72. CJ Allen with trouble. Jason Thomas was at the center of it. Caution again here quick at Daytona. Here's a look from above. There's the 88. Allen gets up into the 88. Oh man. Big hit for the 1. The 10 gets turned around. There goes the 97 down the back stretch, spinning. I am a little bit perplexed here by the 97. He just, middle of the corner, goes up the racetrack, gets into the 88, and that sets this all off. Wow. Big hit for Conan down there. I just noticed that. He hit the outlet there of the wall. Oh, man. Let's watch from his perspective, see how it all starts up. You see Winstone just ahead who gets through it. Romano up top who gets through it. Gross does not, I believe, and oh, you see just how close it can be. That's a really massive shunt for the 72. The 1 has a big hit in all of this as well. Let's see if we can get a combo of onboard hits. Here is Dunaway in the 1. He'll hit first. Right here. Oh, that's that car destroyed. And then here's Conan. Oh my gosh, maybe worse. Now we've got a bit of a better picture. Here's another look at it. Allen up the racetrack. Banky gets a piece. The 14 did a really good job on the top side of hitting the brakes as hard as he could. You see them all scatter. Good bits of wreck avoidance from a couple of these guys for sure, and one of them, Chris Winstone. Here's a look at a Murtis mega miss right here. Trying to keep his season alive. If he can just get a win, if Friel can just get a win, if half of these guys could just get a win, they could be in the chase. Oh, man. And 37 gets through. We also got to watch for the 44. That was a fantastic miss that we saw live. Here's Romano's on board for it. I actually love when we catch a wreck on board live. Just watching it unfold in real time as you see it here. Romano ends up hooking, admittedly, the 77 there of Gross, and Casey I don't think will be all that appreciative, although he is locked into the chase at this point in time, so it's really just a matter of seeding for him. But let's see what happened there to that 77 car. He's on the outside into the corner, Mopin right behind. I'm also not sure if Mopin gets through. I'm not used to looking for an orange and white 66. But Gross gets hooked, and that's how the 1 really gets into it again. You see the 10 of Conan, or rather Essenberg. Though they were both involved heavily, and here's another look. This is on board, car number 10. And we'll come back to some live picture. Hooked, big hit to the outside wall. Joseph Essenberg, that was a big one. He continues so far without a fast repair, although here he comes into the pit lane for some more service. Coulter Clark in as well. Hewitt in, Conan in, Morris in, Romano in. Gotta wonder for Essenberg, is this a fast repair moment for him? Yes, it is. He went ahead, saw how bad the damage was, decided, all right, I'm done with that. And so now it is Mike Rovillo at the front. Can he hang on for a win? I mean, it's 45 laps away, plenty of time, but could he be the one to get into the chase of the win here at Daytona? Let's dial him up, actually. It would be against his teammate, Mike Alley, and Mike, this is an interesting spot for you as a teammate. If you win, you're in the chase. If you don't win, hopefully nobody else wins, and Mike Alley is in the chase, because either one of you can be the top driver with the win, not yet in the chase. So it is that creating any kind of divide, or is it everybody just trying to go finish as well as you can?
We're just trying to do the best we can. I mean, I've got my other teammate on my outside. He could really use a win too, but we're just trying to put him on the dash and get there.
Yeah, it's a great point. The three of you, if any one of you win, you effectively put yourself in the chase that way. What's it like trying to control this race, and what will it be like trying to control this restart?
Well, I've got Zach King behind me, so hopefully he can give me a good shove, but not too much to where it gets squirrely up here.
Hey, best of luck, Mike. I know we haven't talked to you a whole lot this season. This could be what makes or breaks your entire year. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Mike Rovillo into the restart zone this time. Going to have control. This could be his entire season on the line. Restart zone coming up. The iRacing.com safety car back to the relative safety of pit lane. 45 laps to go at the world's center of racing. Zach King goes from third, which was on the bottom, to first on the outside. Not sure how he managed that, but props to him. He found the right gap when he needed to. Chad Fox slots in behind the 51 car. So now Rovillo relying on Friel for help. Friel needs the win to get into the chase. Here comes Fox down low. King trying to block. Oh, Chad Fox down low, spinning, goes the 14. No caution. Chad Fox cycled out of the field. Not sure how he lost control, but he did. 3 wide now, Alley, Combs, and Maupin down low. That's a scary spot to be in. Combs falling back, he's going to find a gap. His song, Rovillo, that's the front now. Lap 57, complete his song out front. You see everybody packed right back together here. Trying to make moves. His song up top. He's got help from that 35 car of Benke, who's getting a shove from King, and his song gets down out of the way. Benke's checking up. Benke gets down with the 29, big crash! Benke in the wall hard! Big accident! And they're not done. They're still crashing. Allen, King, and more. Clark checks up. There's Casey Gross in the back of it. And it all started from McCoy Benke trying to get back down in line with Robert his song. Now Douglas Scalise might be done. Actually, he's got no faster. He has a fast repair left, actually. He has not taken his. So this will certainly be a fast repair moment for him. Benke might not get back to the box. He won't. He's not the only one in that spot, it seems. Wow. And there's McCoy Benke. First start in the series, and while he made an impressionable well, an impression, I suppose, in the early goings of this race. This, maybe not his best moment. You see, they get 3 wide there for a brief moment with Friel checking up behind Rovillo. That backs up Hughes, and that creates the gap at the front, where Hassan goes down, and Benke thought, hesitated, tried to go with, and he backs him up and ends up turning down across the nose of Rovillo. Conan nowhere to go. Combs gets a big piece. You see, it was relatively tame, honestly, for what it could have been. That could have been so many more cars involved. This could have been so much worse. So he comes down across the nose of the 2. Boom, up. Big hit for him and King. And then losing it on the apron was a handful of drivers. Sidrus, Allen, Scalus was the big one to really lose it off the bottom. Here's his perspective. He tries to hit the basement, missing it, and loose, overcorrected. Boom, outside wall for him. He was not the only one. Let's ride on board with Zach King in all of this. He was right behind Benke, trying to figure this all out in real time. Of course, he doesn't know that Benke's trying to get down to the bottom, then Benke down across the nose of the 2, and wow. Really, really big hits. Gets bodied again there by the 64 of Sidrus. And that was most certainly car done for King. He has to come in and get a fast repair. He is now in the 13th spot live under caution. Oh boy, this is a rather effective caution, that's for sure, as these guys pace around now under yellow. Rovillo stays out, and this is starting to get to danger zone for him. But he stays out, saves some fuel. Ali with him, then Friel, Hughes, and Mopin, and these guys are starting to consider track position. They don't want to lose it. They want to be towards the front. At the same time, that can be how you get involved in an incident. It's a tricky game to play. Under this caution, we'll go ahead and dial up another one. Robert Hassan in the number 29, who comes into today wondering what could have been. Last week at Michigan, Robert, admittedly, I was out of the race early after a not so great crash on the backstretch last week, but I did go back and I did check out the end of the race, and I saw that, frankly, you maybe should have won that thing. How do you feel about last week, first of all?
Yeah, I feel like that one kind of got away from me. So basically, it's all or nothing. I think I have to win to get in. If not, oh well, not that big of a deal. I'm just here for, you know, trophies, and if I can win and get into the chase, we'll see where she stacks up. And yeah, last week was a bit of a doozy. I really feel like I should have won that, my home track, and I hold myself to a very high standard when it comes to racing at Michigan. And I think it was Chris Romano that got me and going into turn 3, and I should have just arced it a little higher into the corner, and I probably could have got a run off the corner to side draft and get back by him, but it didn't happen. So we're just gonna focus on right now and get back to the front and get through this last pit stop coming up here in about 20 laps and see what she's got.
And focusing on the now, of course, I am here to ask you about the potential of winning this race. You've got to win to make it into the chase at this point. You are, let's see, 264 back coming into today, but there's that wild card spot for the highest driver in standings to win a race. You're in contention, but you're up against guys like Thaddeus Friel, Chris Winstone, Mike Ravillo, Mark Bender, Chad Fox. Are you worrying about any of them, or is it just checkers or wreckers?
That the last 3 words there, checkers or records at this point.
Fair enough. Robert, good to talk to you. I see you working with the Ideal crew today. Best of luck.
Yep, thank you.
Robert, his song going to lead, not lead us, but he's going to lead the drivers who just pitted, actually. He and Essenberg, the front end of the drivers who pitted under this yellow. Green flag on the way, and a lane change. Mike Alley. That is a lane change before the line. That should be a drive-through for the 22. Winstone now the top car on the top side. He has got Casey Gross pushing. Here comes Sean Hughes and Elijah Mopa to the top side of the racetrack. His song there in the middle. They really put Winstone 3 wide. King there as well. And now all eyes are on the 22 of Alley. Changing lanes before the start-finish line there. That should be a penalty. Hey, there's Corey Powell. As if on cue, we mentioned Ideal Racing, and there he is in the YouTube chat. Corey, good to see you. I'm sad you couldn't go for a fastest lap. I really could have used that point in fantasy, but it happens. Down the backstretch, Zach King has a run on the top side. He's got Thaddeus Friel pushing him. The 98 needs a win. The 2 needs a win. The 22 needs to not have a penalty, which... I mean, he changed lanes. And there it is. Penalty, 22 car to the pit lane. That will be a drive-through for Alley, and this is not something he can afford. He can take destiny into his own hands. Of course, he can fall back on his win potentially to make the chase. He can also try to win this race and quiet everybody. Some new looks, by the way, out of the Ideal family of racers. Good looking race cars as here we go, 3 wide for second. King trying to play Pied Piper. Friel tries to get back down. He will behind his song. Moped is in the conversation. And now it's King leading over his song over Friel. Hughes is down there. Moped on the bottom side. There's a move. Robert his song to the race lead. How about that for a slice and a dice? Talking about taking this race into your own hands. That's Robert Hassan doing exactly that. Saw the opportunity, took it, got down in front of Hughes, and now has said sayonara, at least for now, to driver 51, who has been kind of the most potent driver to actually make passes here in this group, as you see that green Ford Mustang Dark Horse slinking back into the distance. Chris Winstone now up underneath the 51 car. This is for the 5th position. Winstone with help from Clark. Does give me a little bit of anxiety, I'm not going to lie. Then there's last week's winner, Chris Romano, able to get the win at Michigan over Robert Hissong, and I mean, you know what? Props to him. Racing is cutthroat. You take the opportunities you can when you can, but I still feel like maybe that should have been Hissong's race, and now trouble in the back. Cameron Combs turned around. Here's his onboard. He has got mega issues here. He is done, I would think, for the day. He's already used his fast repair, and that car is not exactly moving very quickly. CJ Allen also involved. He's one of the Ideal drivers. And Cameron Combs has towed that car to the pit lane. Here's what happened down into turn 3. Conan and Hewitt, and then Allen just came down. Oh my gosh. Helicoptered the heck out of Combs. Wow. So they got 3 wide ahead. Hewitt kind of came down into Conan a little bit, and then Allen, I'm not sure where that left turn was going. But Cameron Combs is going to be down and out. That is it for him. Another look at it, you see it starting ahead of him, and he got down out of the way, tried to dodge, then helicopter mode. So Cameron Combs out at this point, and Mike Alley has parked it. Oh boy. Mike Alley has parked it in the 22. Daniel Dunaway in the group that he'll be joining, along with Mark Bender and Corey Powell, out of this race. And here we go, pit stops aplenty for the drivers at the front. Clark will stay out. Winstone stays out. So the 2 Whiplash cars in the race stay out on the racetrack. That's surprising to me, as his song and just about everybody else comes in. Yeah, everybody else on the lead lap comes in. Scratch that. A couple others do stay out. Those are Jason Thomas and Shane Morris. As you see the race off the pit lane, Zach King wins that race. It looks like he takes fuel only to join these guys towards the front. It'll be Winstone, Clark, Thomas, and Morris, the top 4. Another look at it. Again, these are your standings coming into this morning's race. There they are. So everybody with the green number next to them for the championship points deficit or gap to the cut line, whatever it might be, the green, that means they're in. No worries for them, they are in. And frankly, the next 3, the blue names, are all guaranteed as well at this point because of the starts they have, the points they have. You know, whichever one drops below the cut line has enough starts to get that basically provisional, if you will, in the chase, that wild card spot. So then it just comes down to who can be the top driver this season with a win that is not yet in. And that is when you get down to the battle between everybody in gray and trying to get to victory lane. So Adams, Echapar, McMeek, and Allison, those guys haven't been racing lately, but like they are examples of drivers that are out. From Alley up is still in contention. So a total of 19 drivers technically have their seasons still alive at the moment, but only one of the drivers from 12th through 19th can make it in. And that is where it comes down to literally win and you are in among those drivers. And again, you know, as far as the power rankings go, they suggest that, again, the 37, the 98 have kind of been a couple of the best drivers without a win so far. The 66 as well, Mopin. So Mopin, granted, he's locked in, so he's not really concerned. I mean, really, it comes down to Chris Winstone is in the top 10 in power rankings, and really nobody else in that conversation of needing the win today is. But Thaddeus Friel, I promise you, I believe is 11th. He's very close at the very least, I know that much. So Thaddeus should be considered as a favorite as well. And then you get down to guys like, I would say, the next one behind them would have been a Mark Bender or a Mike Ravillo. Actually, Robert Hassong, I'm sorry. Hassong is not yet in the chase field. He needs a win. He's not in the top 10 in power rankings. He's missed a lot of races, but Robert Hassong absolutely is potentially better than Winstone and Friel on the average day, I have to say. But it comes down to those three, and then I would say Rovillo and Bender kind of even keel. Fox, but we just a tick behind them. There's a look again at your Whiplash Sim Cams power rankings. We will get restarted here in just a moment. With 69 complete, a nice opportunity now for Winstone and Clark to try and control the field at the front. Let's see what they can do. Teammates on the front row, followed by Thomas and Morris. Green flag in the air. Racing again with 31 to go at the World Center of Racing. I see David Hughes out in the YouTube chat. Tires not much of a concern for these guys, but pit times indicate that Mopin may have got 2. Hassan got 4. Morris, never mind, he's irrelevant. He stayed out. Hughes, Sean Hughes would have gotten 4, along with Casey Gross getting 4, then Thaddeus Friel and Mike Rovillo and Chris Romano and possibly Doug Scalis. So about half the field, I'd say, that is in contention at the front is on new tires. Again, they're not much of a concern. I think as long as you take a set or 2 in this race, you're A-okay. You just don't want to have a blowout, and that's really it. Looking back from Chris Winstone, there you see Thomas peeking up. He's looking for daylight. Not going to find it. We are in the nighttime here at Daytona, but he's looking for it. As he's side by side now with Mopin down the backstretch. His song is there in tow of the 66, his new teammate. And look at Sean Hughes on those brand new Goodyear Eagles. Mopin gonna move up. He takes the top side. He falls back in line. He tried to get his song up there. They had a run. His song wasn't quite clear, but watch for those two to try and move up to get to the outside of the couple of Whiplash cars leading this race. And there's King spoiling the fun. He gets back on the outside of Mopin. It is, as I'm sure most of you viewers are aware, effectively chess at about 190 to 200 miles per hour. You're just trying to figure out when to make the right move, how that's going to affect your next couple of laps. Oh no! King hooked off the 88 car. They scatter. Can they get through? There's the crash. Thomas, Morris, and more. King is wadded up down low, and that is going to, I think, be his day. He may continue, but he's got a lot of damage. Justin Thomas might be done. Joe Conan comes on through. He looks okay. I saw CJ Allen wadded up again. Big trouble here. And again, it centers around that orange and purple number 88 car of Jason Thomas. Here's the view from the tower to put us back under caution. Thomas just pushing the heck out of the 51 car, and right here gets on his left rear, hooks him down. Mopin gets a piece. Hangs on to it more or less. Romano took a big hit. Morris around. Allen. And of course, we saw King. Man, Romano took a massive blow. Here's his onboard. Tried to go high to miss it, just about did, and boom! Oh my gosh. The car actually might have gotten away okay. Oh no, there's a lot of wheel damage. Look at, I mean, the wheel is at like 130 at that point. That is not ideal. Thankfully, he has a fast repair remaining, but you really don't want to have to use it with nearly 30 laps still to go in this race. See the 51 get hooked down. Mopin nowhere to go. His song, Morris. And King, I think, might have been okay, but he ended up spinning down into the inside wall there. You couldn't quite see it from that view. He might have been all right until he ended up going down the racetrack into the inside wall. Check this out. It's hooked down. There's Mopin. Tries to hang on. Of course, He's along for the ride. He's kind of okay here, though, and then off of the apron there, the car hooks left, and boom, head on, inside wall. That will be what does him in, if anything. And now from Shane Morris' point of view. I mean, nowhere to go. They just stop on your nose. He's just trying to hang on, gets up into Allen. You see him go for a spin. Prompts by a lot of these guys, though, to scatter and miss it. That easily could have been a whole lot worse if nobody lifted, and I gotta say, that was pretty solid avoidance across the board from guys in the back there, as we are back under caution. Everybody this time came in and got fuel. Every single car on the racetrack. A handful are still on the pit lane. Morris exiting. Here is King. You see McCoy into the pit lane. McCoy Benke. Dakota Sidrus comes in. He's in for service. Chris Romano, of course, trying to fix the car without taking a fast fix. I don't know that he'll be able to. And then CJ Allen trying to get that car fixed. He has taken a fast repair, and that car looks absolutely spick and span once again. It's been a while since we've seen the guy leading go to victory lane. Sean, it's been some time since we've seen you win a race. Can you get it done here, Daytona?
I'm gonna do my best. I never won a super speedway before, but I've been doing pretty good so far.
You've never won on a super speedway in any setting, whether it's league, official, anything?
Anything, nope.
Wow. I mean, this is an opportunity then, not just for the drivers trying to make it into the chase, but for you as well. How would that affect things for you? Of course, it would help you lock down the top seed in the chase, and I mean, that would be a ton of momentum going into Darlington in a couple of weeks.
Right, Darlington's always my best track. There'd be a lot of momentum, and yeah, just win the regular season championship.
And I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that was where you got the win in the spring, right? It was Darlington.
That's right, yep, Darlington.
Yeah, so that's obviously a good track for you if you won there in the spring. I gotta ask, we've got David Hughes out in the YouTube chat. I'd imagine your father, right?
Yes.
Is he kind of where the love for racing started?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up racing all my life, watching Jeff Gordon, you know.
That's awesome.
Watching TV.
That's awesome, Sean. It's good to talk to you. Best of luck here. I mean, this could go either way. You know that. 25 laps. You guys are all topped up on fuel. You should be good at the end, right?
Yeah, we're good on fuel. We don't got any fuel for green light check it or anything, but it's gonna be tight. We'll see.
But at least a scheduled distance. Well, Sean, good to talk to you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Get you back up to your teammate Chris Romano, and boy, it's going to take some teamwork in this race for either one of them to go to victory lane, that's for sure. But a good starting point, obviously, is the front of the field, and Sean Hughes is there. You also see who's right behind him, though. Winstone and Friel, a couple of the drivers we keep talking about as a potential to win this race and spoil the chase. Friel is back up into this thing. Look at this. This song is back in 11th for this restart. Green flag on the way. It's Sean Hughes leading us into the restart zone. 25 laps to go as Sidrus works to catch up. And a big restart from the top side. It appears the restart will stand. Coulter Clark takes over. Big move. Rovillo swerves down to the inside. It is Clark, Hughes, and Winstone at the front of the field. Friel checks up a couple of rows. He's back into 6th now. This guy needs literally all that he can get. Here's Chad Fox's point of view right behind Friel. Thaddeus doesn't really have a team out here. So he's kind of flying blind at the moment as, oh, checkups big time into turn 1. 3 wide in the middle of the field. Clark checks up big time. He falls back into the 4th spot. He's going backwards. And there you go. It's Hughes out front, Winstone and Clark in row number 2 effectively. It looks like a Delaware restart. Hewitt back in the mix. Essenberg is back up here despite his big hit earlier in this race. And Friel looks to the middle between Essenberg and Hewitt. No gap there. So Thaddeus gives a shove to the 10 car, tries to get him going. Sean Hughes leading the way as we get down to the final moments of Daytona. Kind of crazy to think after this we still have 2 super speedway style races, 2 drafting tracks to go this season. Those of course being Echo Park Speedway later this fall and Talladega Super Speedway later this fall, both within the Chase of course, as this is the Chase cutoff race, the final regular season race. Next up for these drivers, Darlington in 2 weeks, much like the NASCAR Cup Series, just a week delayed. Oh, Morris, he gets to the King, they're crashing again! Somehow, King hung on to it, but he cannot be happy with that. Let's see here. King in the 51. You see Morris checks up and looked high and bam, right in the side of Zach King's 51. Great catch. Golly, what a catch. Yeah, we need to see that. The hands. Watch the wheel. You see the bright green gloves. I don't know how he straightened this out. Oh, you can't even see the hands hardly. Wow. I mean, that is kind of insane. That's doing a $180 at least, if not a $190 to turn 3. Gets hit in the door. Dead sideways to the racetrack. Look at this again. Oh. Wow. I think the number on the car might have been how many degrees sideways he was to the racetrack as we have a battle up front. It's Conan and Essenberg, teammates from Great Lakes Racing at the front of the field. 20 laps to go that last time by. These guys should be good to the end on fuel, straight up to scheduled distance. But if we have another caution, that's where the complexities lie. That's where it gets a whole lot more interesting. David Hughes, I appreciate that. Very much so. Here we go. Thaddeus Friel to the top side. No help, but he tries to get the lap lead there. He won't. Nearly did, and he gets a shove now from the 10 of Essenberg to lead into turn 1. So Thaddeus trying to make moves at the front. Wouldn't you know it? 2 of the most potent drivers looking for a win to make it into the chase are at the front within 20 laps to go. The question is, can they be there within 10, then 5, then 3, then the white flag? Conan with the shove from Hughes. That puts them out front. Bit of a 2-car tango like the old COT days. Thaddeus Friel, Chris Winstone, door to door. Oh, and Scalise all over the racetrack there briefly. His song, the other driver who could really use a win, has been super competitive this season, should have had a win by now. Here he is, 14th spot. It's so hard to make up spots when you're in this pack. You've got to pick the right line at the right time. I think he's just trying to wait out a caution. And he might get one. The 24 of Hewitt onto the apron. No crash, and that checkup might hurt the 29 car. He lifted big time, and there you see the field trying to drive away from him. 17 to go. Thaddeus Friel out front. For a handful of these guys, it's win and you're in. Friel is one of them. The top three get down. That's Friel, Essenberg, and Scalise. That loads the bottom side. The top side lacks numbers. Allen checking up. Casey Gross on his bumper. Chad Fox there as well. And Gross down. Rovilla gives him a shove. Everybody getting in line on the bottom side of the racetrack. Never mind. Here comes Scalise. Here comes Conan. Before we wrap this race up, a big, big thank you to our partners this morning. Bully Dog Coffee Company, Patrick Bowler, that whole crew. Happy Pet HQ, Ideal Pest Management, Ideal Canine Training, Ideal Racing, Ideal Construction, the entire Ideal family. Big thank you to Corey Powell and what you guys do for the series. Today's race is the Boosted Safe 250. A big thank you to Boosted Safe being on board here today, helping us make this race and so many others happen this season. And Bully Dog Coffee Company, the series sponsor, founded by Patrick Bowler with nearly 2 decades of experience in the coffee industry. Bully Dog Coffee Company takes the process of making coffee and turns it back into more of a ritualistic experience, better supporting your caffeine needs, waking you up in the morning to catch these All-American Racing Network events on Pitstop TV. Bully Dog Coffee Company also supports local dog shelters in Central Arizona, a place near and dear to my heart. That's where I'm originally from. I'll claim Independence, California all day, but originally I'm from Bullhead City, Arizona, and still very much hold the Grand Canyon State near and dear to my heart. Order your first pound of Bully Dog coffee for as little as $15 with promo code FAST10 at checkout. Again, that is promo code FAST, all caps FAST, and the number 10, 10, so FAST10 at checkout. That'll get your first pound of Bully Dog Coffee Company down to as low as $15. Of course, that depends on the bag you select. I believe it's a 10% code. Check them out. If you need to wake up in the morning to catch these races like I do, that might be your fix. A big thank you as well to our partners here at Pitstop TV, Whiplash Sim Cams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and MX Designs. We'll be looking at the driver of the day here in just a moment, at least the vote for it. I'll get to make my 4 nominations as per usual. There you see Hassan out the windshield here of McCoy Benke. Hassan needs to win this race. Thankfully, I am no longer in California. Here we go, the big checkup on the outside. I now reside in North Carolina. Thankfully, no longer in California, just for the fact that I would not want to wake up in Pacific time for this. Thankfully, Eastern time, it's doable. I appreciate you checking in on me, though, because that would be a little concerning. Although we have had Blue Carl join us for a couple of these, and Blue lives out in Washington, so, you know, Blue has done it, but Blue also typically stays up all night, does the broadcast, and then goes to sleep. 12 laps to go. Business time. It's picking up. Sean Hughes, Joe Essenberg, the front of the field. Thaddeus Friel, Casey Gross, Doug Scalise, Chris Winstone. Again, your numbers to watch. To make this easy on you, your numbers to watch, that if they win, they are in. The 2, the 22, the 12, Fox, not Benke, the 98, the 37, the 29. Really, in this group, you're watching effectively the 98, the 37, the 2, and the 29. Keep those numbers in mind. Windstone, a door there to Conan. One is gold, one is blue. I keep losing them. Next time around is 10 laps to go. Out front, controlling the race at the moment is Essenberg, Joseph Essenberg. Let's go through some of the laps led and see who's been out front the most. It has been his song, it has been King. It's even been Hughes out front for the majority of this race. And so if we look to make these Driver of the Day nominations, that's kind of what I look to on a super speedway like this. And I have got to put Hughes on here. I've got to put his song on here. I think I've even got to put Zach King on here. While the last 30 laps or so have not been so great, he has controlled a lot of this race. He has played Pied Piper a whole lot. And I think the laps that he's been battling for the lead would far eclipse how many laps his song has led. How many laps King himself has led, of course, as there's a checkup. They were 3 wide right behind these guys at the back end of this group. So to recap, the first 3 nominations I've got for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote, which you guys will decide in YouTube. Sean Hughes, here you see 14 laps led, he's still counting. Robert Hissong, he's got 25 laps led so far, about a quarter of the scheduled distance. And Zach King, 18 laps led so far today. And he's still in contention, needs a caution, but he's still in contention to win this thing. And looking around the field, I think I've got to give a tip of the cap to Doug Scalise. He's been crashed like 6 different times, it feels like, all starting early in this race, and Doug has kept the 16 in the wind. Here he is, the car looks clean, he got a fast repair recently, and he is into second. So props to Doug Scalise. That Driver of the Day vote now live over on YouTube. Give it a vote. That will run until about the end of driver interviews and post-race, and Scalise gets checked up. Here comes his song on the outside. Thought maybe he was leaning too far back. He's got McCoy Benke pushing him. Gets down alongside Thaddeus Friel. 7 laps to go at Daytona International Speedway. The world center of racing. The world center of I need a win to get into the chase. If you're Thaddeus, Robert, or Chris. And also, let's not forget, Chad Fox is in this group, he could do it. Mike Rovillo's in this group, he could do it. A lot riding on these final 7 laps at Daytona. Big run for Windstone. That puts him right up behind Hughes. Alongside Friel, his song checks up. 6 laps to go. 3 wide. That is for 5th spot. Clark down low. The only driver that I see trying to go for this win to make it into the chase that has help so far is Windstone. There goes Clark shoving him to the middle. And look at Rovillo. He's in the win and you're in kind of spot. He's in a 3rd. He doesn't need help. 5 laps to go. This time by the 2, the 98, the 37, the 29. They're all together. Those are the cars you're watching. If one of them gets the win, they are in the chase. Otherwise, the default will go back to the 22. There's a hook. Winstone, Friel, caution is out. Clark through the grass. And Thaddeus Friel may now be done. I don't know. That car looks okay. Admittedly, that looks a lot better than I was expecting when I saw him backwards into turn 1. Let's see what happened here. Got kind of just pushed out of cycle and I think tried to get back down to the bottom, and Winstone was already there. Let's get a better view of this. See Winstone getting the shove from behind. That was Coulter Clark pushing him. I think this might be the best way to look at this. So Winstone and Clark pedal back to this gap in front of Morris, right behind Thaddeus Friel. And out of the tri-oval, Thaddeus gets pushed up and then tries to come back down. That is a tricky spot. Because as much as I want to side on Chris Winstone's part, he did put the 2 lefts on the double yellow. And that is where that gets tricky. That gets very, very tricky. He's going for a win late. He sees a gap. He gets there. Oh, man, I don't know. And, of course, it has to be a couple of guys that I'm a fan of, personally. Winstone, one of our drivers, but obviously I want to be as objective as I can. And, I mean... that's so tricky. I don't know. Chris obviously is going for the win. Inside of 5 to go. He wants to get that spot on the inside of Friel. Might need it. At the same time, those lefts in the double yellow, that might put that on Chris. It's not quite like the NFL where even a toe on the sideline means you're out of bounds. Although Friel has parked it for the day, he's got damage, he is done. So he will not be making the chase. It's not quite like the NFL where as soon as you put anything on that line, you're in trouble. But if NASCAR, and obviously this is not NASCAR, this is AARN, but if NASCAR deems that you go beyond the bounds of the racetrack and gain an advantage doing so, or cause a crash doing so, you are subject to potential penalty. And I don't know how the league is going to look at this, if it's going to be that Winstone left the racing surface. I think it's a ball and strike kind of call. You could probably line up 100 different race controllers and end up somewhere around 50-50 on whether or not that is out of bounds. Frankly, as long as Winstone gets a restart in the field, though, I don't know that he's out of this thing. We're going to go to overtime. We're not restarting this time by, and so that means we can take a look at the MX Wraps overtime rules. We'll have 2 laps once we go back green, a green lap and a white lap, and then checkers will end it. If the green lap is completed, the first of those 2 laps, the race is official. They race it back no matter what happens. If the green lap is not completed at any time, there will be a caution flown. If, well, they have 3 attempts, so that can happen up to 2 more times with us still restarting. If it happens a 3rd time, so after all attempts are used, a caution will end the race. This will put us 1 lap into overtime, it looks like. You see the ticker there. It makes iRacing lag for a moment, but there you go, 101. So these guys are still just about within range on fuel, but it's going to be close. A handful of drivers do come in, and I like it. I like it for the fuel aspect, obviously. Hassan, one of them, who needs the win here today. He comes in along with Elijah Mopin, CJ Allen, Justin Hewitt in the 24, he's new. Zach King in the 51, and Chris Romano grabs service under this yellow. He needed it. He was a lap down, actually. So he is back on the lead lap. And then Dakota Sidrus actually has caught back up to the field. He will also be in this pacing field. So all 18 cars left rolling are on the lead lap. So again, take a look at those MX Wraps overtime rules. Get an idea for them if you don't know them already. It's pretty much NASCAR rules. And then, that's where everybody sits into this restart. And again, this comes down to, as far as winning you're in, it's the 2, the 37, the 29. Also with Chad Fox, although Chad Fox is 12th. And that's the 12. Those are the drivers trying to make their way in. Everybody else is locked in as far as who's already in the chase. We'll show you a graphic if we get another caution to kind of recap where everyone's at. But for now, restart zone coming. Those are the drivers you need to watch as far as the win and you're in. Overtime rules bottom right. We'll leave that up just a little bit longer. Here we go. Restart. Green-white checkered attempt number 1 at Daytona. Casey Gross out to a big lead. They're going to catch up to him quick. McCoy Benke already on his bumper. Sean Hughes down low. If we get a caution before the white flag, we re-rack them, restack them. If we get back to the white, this race is official. Casey Gross leading into turn 3. Chris Winstone way up top. Here's Robert Hissong in it. Contact between Essenberg and Conan. They're trying to go 4 wide. The top side falling back. And at the front, McCoy Benke going for a crash. Crashing into the start finish. Where's the caution? It's white flag. They're going to race it back. The race is official. Casey Gross, Sean Hughes, Mike Rovillo. He could still win to make the chase. Casey Gross has got company. Hughes on his bumper. Essenberg looking around the outside. The 2 needs to win this race. He cannot settle for anything less. Mike Rovillo needs to find a way by. He's got a car on his outside. It's going to be a drag race between Gross and Hughes. Rovillo looking on into the tri-oval. Sean Hughes gets he's just allowed to win. Nobody was on him. I am bewildered. I am bewildered. In multiple ways. Congratulations, I want to say first of all to Sean Hughes. That is a big win. We talked to them a little bit ago about the possibility of it. A big win to get right before the chase. Not only is it a win in his basket, he now confirms himself as the top seed in the chase here in 2026. This is only his 2nd win of the season, and yet he is our top seed going into the playoffs this season. And I've been very intentional using the word chase. It is a chase format as far as I'm aware, not a playoff format. So no eliminations, chase style format like NASCAR. And boy oh boy, you see the congratulations from teammate Chris Romano, at least effective teammate. They sit in the same race channel a lot. And Sean Hughes, for the 2nd time this season, this year, we should say, a year-long calendar, is victorious. You see the 15 laps led. I am still just in shock. Bewildered is an understatement. Although speechless would also fit. We'll get a look back at what maybe should have been a caution coming to the white flag. I can't believe it wasn't a caution. This is actually as they crossed for the white flag, so let's go back a little farther. I can't believe this was not a caution. We wadded up at least 5 before they even entered the restart zone. I'm not really sure where this starts. You see Essenberg, Conan, his song all racing. They're trying to figure this out. Winstone in there. Morris got into Scaleless. That hooks him around. Winstone gets T-boned. Chad Fox down through the grass. And really, it was the 69 of Morris where this all starts. I am just in a little bit of shock, honestly. So many drivers watch their season close just like this, and all the hype about can one of these guys win, none of them do. I mean, 3 of them wadded up in this, I feel like. Yeah, 3 of them. Wow. For Robert Hissong, it goes from trying to make the outside work here, coming to the white flag, to out of the race. Here's a look from Hissong's point of view. Just unbelievable. The opportunity they all had here coming to the white flag, and it's gone. But again, this should have been a caution. Sidrus tossed like a salad. Scaleless on the wall hard. Just unbelievable scenes. I don't know where the iRacing caution detection system was on this, but this easily should have been a caution. Wow. Regardless, props to Sean Hughes. I know I'm saying it should have been a caution. He's obviously glad it wasn't. Props to Sean Hughes. Let's go back and take a look at the unofficial race results here from Daytona. He gets it done in wild fashion. I still am a little bewildered by the entire thing, but here's a look. Sean Hughes gets the win. Essenberg, Gross, Conan, Rovilla, your top 5. So close, so far. For driver number 2, he's the top of the drivers that was looking for one of these wins to keep their season alive. McCoy Benke there in the 6th spot. Zachary King, CJ Allen, Justin Hewitt, Shane Morris, your entire top 10. Of course, unofficial. We'll see if this changes at all, but I don't think it will. Chris Romano, Robert Hissong, that's where a lot of your regulars lie. Hissong 12th, Clark 13th, Mopin, Scaleless, your top 15. A lot of these guys, all of these guys in that crash there coming to the white flag. Winstone, Fox, Sidrus end up wrapping up your lead lap. Thaddeus Friel, Jason Thomas out of the race early. Thaddeus Friel, Chris Winstone, Robert Hissong, Chad Fox, all on this page. All needed a win. Couldn't get it. Back in 21st, Cameron Combs, 35 laps out. Michael Alley out early after a penalty for changing lanes on a restart. Daniel Dunaway out early. Mark Bender, Corey Powell. Your 25 cars that made the trip to virtual Daytona International Speedway. Let's go ahead and talk with Sean Hughes. We've had a little time to kind of process all of this now. And Sean, you are victorious at Daytona. 2nd time this season you win one of these races. They've come few and far between, but man, that doesn't mean that you can't win the next 10 straight.
What an amazing race. First Super Speedway win. It was so much fun. Worked with Casey. We worked great together. Chevy Power. Make sure to download Spark Local Events. I hope everyone enjoyed. What a race.
And, I mean, of course, this confirms you, as we talked about earlier, as the top seed in the chase. For you, mentally, you've got 2 weeks now going into your favorite racetrack, one of your best, if not your best. How confident are you just to kick this chase off and get racing towards the championship?
Yep, I won the regular season championship. That's great. And then we're going to my best track, which I definitely think I can win. So it's going to be fun.
I want you to call your shot now. Do you think you can win more than 2 races going through the rest of this season?
I think I can win Darlington. Bristol is I'm always good at. So I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely win 2 more races.
Sean, we'll be watching for you. Best of luck. You keep dominating in the fantasy game as well. So, I mean, I don't know how today's going to go. It was all over the place. But, hey, best of luck in 2 different championships here.
Yeah, thank you.
Sean Hughes with the win at Daytona keeps his season right where it needs to be, right on top. Joseph Essenberg finished second today. And, Joseph, I mean, anything can happen at Daytona, right? That's what they all say. So many times you were up in the mix, making moves to the race lead. You led 5 laps at the stripe. That doesn't account for everything in between, though. How confident were you on that last restart, that green-white checkered? Anything could have happened.
Yeah, I was trying to get linked up with the 72 and try to work together. But after I see them spinning behind me, I was kind of like, just got to go for it and take all the runs you get and just see what happens. I was just thankful to be in the spot to be in front of that caution and have an opportunity to try to make something happen.
And of course, you and your teammate Joseph not in this for points really. You guys have been here for a handful of races this summer, but not close enough to make it into the chase. These last 10 races, obviously, it's the chasers first, right? Those 12, but can you guys play spoiler, not just at an Echo Park or Talladega, but one of these other racetracks too? We've seen you guys in the mix. Michigan, I recall you guys up towards the front there as well.
Yeah, we just started racing probably 6-7 months ago, so we're still learning, but we're definitely trying to introduce ourselves and let them know we'll be around next year and getting better all the time and practicing and just working together and trying to take those next steps.
And Joe, I joined iRacing 10 years ago, so you're telling me that you've been on the sim for 6 to 7 months. I'm curious, what is the experience like for someone brand new to iRacing to get involved in a series like this? I mean, how much of a culture shock has it been? What was your experience before iRacing?
Oh, really nothing, man. I've always wanted to get into racing, and NASCAR 25 came out on PlayStation, and I started messing around on that, and it just kind of wasn't. I found out about iRacing being a little more realistic, and I started doing this, and I've never looked back, and I'm just so hooked on this. It's so fun. And then we got into these leagues, and it's just takes me back to being in high school and playing football and competing, and it just is something I've been missing, and I get that fix doing this, and it's awesome. It's everything about it's pretty awesome. I love the banter. I love the just all about it. Just practicing, you get out what you put in, and what a rush, It don't get no better than this.
Good to talk to you, Joseph. It was a lot of fun watching the blue and gold and blue cars go at it at the front. Hopefully we're talking to you guys again soon.
Awesome, brother. I appreciate you.
Best of luck. That is Joseph Essenberg finishing at the front tonight, 2nd place here at Daytona, and 3rd goes to Casey Gross, who we haven't really talked to all that often, but you're always in the conversation somehow, Casey. Tonight, unfortunately, you were in the conversation of a handful of crashes too. What was it like just surviving here at Daytona?
It's super speedway racing, just like just short track racing. This is just super speedway racing. It was a good time, man. I had a lot of fun. It was a great race. Had to bounce back from a little bit of damage here and there, but for the most part, man, it was a lot of fun. I was in the right spot when I needed to be, and unfortunately, I was in the sucker spot at the end there, and I threw a block. Sean still had clear on the outside. He jumped up in front of Eisenberg, and then I wasn't going to throw a second block. I didn't want to wreck anybody, and just took home P3. I'm happy with the podium, and it was a good time. I had a great time racing Daytona. I love super speedway racing.
And 10 laps led as well. It easily could have been a win. You just maybe needed that caution to come out, either the tri-oval or just the right push at the right time. How close do you feel like you were, and can you then deliver in one of these races coming up, a Darlington or a Bristol or a Gateway?
Well, honestly, man, going down the backstretch, I thought I was in good position. Sean was helping me. I knew he was going to throw a move. I knew he was. Unfortunately, I'm looking at my rear view, and the outside line just didn't form up to keep him from throwing that move. Because I knew if there was an outside line, he would have probably pushed me all the way to the, hopefully the win. But when I noticed going into 3 and 4 that the outside line wasn't built up and the 10 car was pretty far back, I threw that initial block just to try to, take away a little bit of Sean's momentum, but it slipped away from me literally in 2 corners. So yeah, it was pretty close, man. I was white knuckling it through that last lap. So yeah, it was a good time. I have no regrets. I'm very happy with the podium. Wish it would have been a win. I'd like to get a win in here. I think I'm the highest pointing driver without a win.
You are.
So it's been a great season. I have no complaints at all about this season. Everybody's raced really good. Everybody's shown a lot of respect on the track. I feel like, at least for me, in my personal experience, yeah, it's been a great time. Great regular season, and I believe we're going to the playoffs now, aren't we?
Yes, sir. You're in the chase. I know you're going to be the number 5 seed. I'm actually going to have a whole TED Talk about that in a second, but Casey, hey, best of luck this, I don't want to say postseason because it's still part of the season, but this chase, we'll say, these final 10 races, anything can happen.
There you go. Yes, sir. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Casey Gross with a solid run here at Daytona International Speedway, and mentioning the chase conversation, there is a lot actually to this. So Cameron Combs, let me go ahead and pull this down actually. Cameron Combs has actually given up his chase position. Effectively, that moves all 3 of those blue numbers in. So Mopin, Van Nuys, Powell, they are all in. So then it falls to the next driver with the next driver with the most starts in the field. That is going to be, I'm looking, Chad Fox. And so then it should still be Mike Alley based on wins to get in. If he is not able to commit, I don't know who gets in at that point. It might go to points because Justin Young has not raced in a while. He's the only other driver with a win this season. And if it does go to points, that would put Mark Bender in at a total of 610 this season. The next behind him was Mike Rovillo, 11 back. Chris Winstone, 23 more back, so 34. And then Thaddeus Friel, a total of 40 back from Mark Bender. So it actually may have come down to points at the very end. Between Mark Bender and Mike Rovillo and Chris Winstone and Thaddeus Friel, which is very interesting considering Bender was out of this race early. He actually finishes 24th in this one, 55 laps down. So keep an eye on the All-American Racing Network Discord. They are actually waiting on confirmation from a couple of drivers on whether or not they can commit to the 10-race chase. That's kind of what this is all hinging on for Mike Alley in the 22 car. But Chad Fox will be in as long as he is good to commit as well. Since he has those starts, that is not in the chase at 20. We'll just have to keep an eye on things. Depending on who can commit, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who actually makes the cut. But I would say for now, expect Chad Fox and Mike Alley to be 11th and 12th. Again, Cameron Combs out of the top 10. That means Mopin, Van Nuys, and Powell are all in. Again, expect Fox and Alley for now. If Alley cannot commit, I think it would have to go to points, which would be Bender. We'll see. I am not a scientist when it comes to this. I don't know how else to put it. We'll see exactly what the league is, ends up able to do here with all of this and what ends up truly happening. But I do want to get back to the traditional next part of this race, or this broadcast, and that is going to be the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. It goes to somebody who unfortunately was involved in that last incident that did not spark a caution. Doug Scalise, today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day here at Daytona, kept the car alive until the very end. You see there even trying to get back around to the checkered flag. The car is crunched. You know what? It's ground up like a coffee bean. There you go. It is messed up. He got a fast repair late. The car was looking perfect, and in a crash again. there at the end, but he never gave up, stayed in it, always had a chance to win until the very final lap. Next up for these drivers, that'll be Darlington in a couple of weeks. They do not race next week. Darlington will kick off the chase in 2 weeks' time. And then we go on, I think it's pretty much weekly from there. We will cover, I just had this up, let me get back to my calendar. We'll cover, I think, 9 or 8 of the races of the chase out of the 10. Pirate Broadcasting should have the others. So we will be there for Darlington and Gateway. Unfortunately, we have to miss Bristol, as I'll be traveling back from Martinsville for the Valley Star Credit Union 300 broadcast. But then, actually no, there's an off week. I'm sorry, I don't know why we're not racing that Sunday. It looks like Bristol is actually October 4th. So we should be at Bristol, and then Kansas, Atlanta, and Charlotte. That's what it is. I have to miss Phoenix. Potentially. And then we're back for Talladega, Martinsville, and Homestead. So yes, nine races, it looks like, possibly for our coverage of the chase. Just that one that would stand out. You see the fireworks down the back stretch for Sean Hughes, who goes to victory lane. A quick look at our upcoming broadcast here at Pit Stop TV. I know it says Saturday. That should say Sunday. That's on me doing this at 3 a.m. But Sunday, tonight, 7:45 Eastern, there about 7:30 Eastern, we head out to Mount Washington in New Hampshire for the iRacing Hill Climb community monthly challenge. This is the second time they're doing it. We're taking legend cars up the mountain today, as opposed to the Mazda Miatas we took out last time, the NC Miata, if you are Miata friendly, I suppose. Then tomorrow night, we begin the chase for the Nora Retro Cup Series. There's a fantasy game for that. If you're in the Pit Stop TV Discord, or if you want to join the Pit Stop TV Discord, you can do so with the Discord link bottom of your screen. So you can join the Discord, get involved in the fantasy game. That will go up here probably as soon as we end the broadcast. I'll make that post. That should be a lot of fun. Wednesday, there's a fantasy game for that as well. The Full Send Cup Series. They head to Daytona. The race that we just saw is the race they're running. They're running 100 and change, I believe, in that race. I think 105 is their lap count for that race. Should be a lot of fun. The Full Send Cup Series, they will be deciding their own chase field. 16 drivers make it. The Cup race is this Wednesday. That is it for us this afternoon now. Rare we say that. This is a longer race for these guys this afternoon with the All-American Racing Network. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please do follow us on the social media platforms down below. Facebook, Instagram, Discord, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, the whole bunch. We don't have the website, but I need to update that. Regardless, thanks for watching this morning, this afternoon, all of it. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one here on Pit Stop TV. Hopefully, that is later today. From Mount Washington, the hill climb with legend cars. That should be a whole bunch of fun. Until then, thanks so much again for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 should have a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, Coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's going to try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's going to crash. Salas is going to crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is going to do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. There's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.